All right, this is SFBarkast, and I'm Jeff Cleary.
I'm Andrew Louder.
And Andrew, where are we today?
We're at Murphy's Pub on Kearney. Is that
Murphs,
right?
to his friends.
Murphs and the Magic Tones.
What is that Dana Gould joke? He said, like, if you want to crank call in, like, South Boston, just call any number and say, hey, is Murph or Fitzy there? And they go, oh, no, he just stepped out.
How about Sully?
How about Sully? Yeah. Hilarious way to spend a Saturday night. And yes, this place is on Kearney.
Yeah, it's like Kearney and Post, maybe, or Kearney and such and such.
Some street, I believe. I think it's like between Post and Sutter.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's I would call this not necessarily like a super Irish bar or anything like that. More of just a standard run-of-the-mill sports bar in a way.
It's an after-work bar too.
Yeah,
because
totally.
it's right downtown, and like it's a little loud in here because like everybody's got off work.
Yeah, everybody's
and now they're like,
getting shots after work.
Let's do shots. Greg from accounting is coming.
He's the funniest.
That guy's great. So, yeah, this is actually the third bar we tried to go to. We tried to go to Dave's, which is closing down.
Indeed.
And that was just way too packed. It's like a venerable old dive bar on like, what is it, 3rd Street.
It's funny, though. I'm not sure if, we spent a little bit of time there, and, I've known about it and whatever. But I think that if we had stayed there, I'm not sure if I would give it a 100% positive review. It is a dive, but it's not like the kind of like classic dive where I feel like I'm really going to miss it. It's like, it was just a cheap bar like in downtown. It sort of had to go at some point.
I can confidently say I'm not going to miss it when it goes away because I never went there.
Right.
And then we went to Local Edition, which I had never been in before.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, as soon as I walked in here, I'm like, oh, do I have a bad review in me? Because I would love to tear one into that like piece of shit place.
Well, it's like an underground place that's massive and
really
it's
big.
And it's if you want to see like everything hateable about like millennial society in San Francisco, like it's like a hive.
It's totally the the rich after work bar. And it's like crazy, wacky, like museum-like theme is of an old newspaper company.
Right. Yeah, so there's like old typewriters and for some reason a big old film projector, which has nothing to do with the news business.
Is there any other sign that the print is dead, like newsprint is dead? And now it's like a fucking novelty ride at like some jackass bar?
Right. It's like the equivalent of like a tiki bar or something where it's like, oh, let's look at this old society that didn't make it.
Isn't it crazy? People used to use these typewriters, and now they're all dead.
They had to replace the ribbons on them like idiots.
Also, I hated that place because it's a bar that has a doorman, and a doorman who that's not really the problem.
Yeah.
But the doorman told me I couldn't wear my baseball hat downstairs. He's like, you gotta take it off when you go downstairs, and I'm like, what, really? So, yeah, if you're into douchebaggery, that's your place.
Totally. And plus, we're in the middle of the Major League Baseball playoffs, and there is a game going on right now between the Dodgers and Mets. Go Mets, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't really have a horse in this race, but I have a lot of friends who are Mets fans.
Okay.
So it'd be nice if they're happy.
Exactly. You like to see. You have compassion. You like to see other people happy, right?
Yeah.
Within reason.
I don't.
I mean, not too happy. So if that's the case, fuck them.
I don't get too much joy out of seeing people suffer.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I mean, we don't want our friends to get too successful because then screw them. Why do you get to be happier than me?
Speaking of suffering, I should just get this out of the way. If I sound like I'm a little down, like I sound like I want to kill someone, it's because I had my bike stolen last night.
You're part of a huge brotherhood of people that have had their bikes stolen in the Bay Area,
and they want to kill people.
Yeah, exactly. I had bikes stolen twice in the space of 3 weeks, I think.
Really?
I had a bike stolen and then returned and then stolen.
Did the
And
same
not
guy come back and get it?
No, because it was one was from in front of my house, and one was at the BART station.
Wow. So the second time when it got stolen, did you get it back?
No, in fact,
No.
like BART was super unhelpful about it. Like their response was basically like, well, you can like file a police report, but chances are like you'll never get it back.
Thanks, guys.
It's like thanks, super.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know what to do now. Like, do I file a police report and just so the cops know that the crime, like, for their stats, they know.
Right.
I mean, the thing is, that really bothers me is that I tied it up right on one of those horseshoes right outside of Doc's lab on Columbus Street.
Right.
And it's like, that's like a very visible area.
Yeah, like visible and with a U-lock, like
Yeah, with the U-lock.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, the restaurant right next door, they put out their garbage.
Okay.
So that it's like the garbage, like their big garbage, plastic garbage cans were like out there.
Right.
And they were kind of like blocking the vision of my bike.
Okay.
So I think that whoever what they did, they took like bolt cutters and they cut the U-lock.
Right.
So like that's what makes me think it's probably like a professional sort of bike thief kind of thing. He probably
someone who's got a lot more bolt cutters than they have a desire for like a really nice bike.
right, exactly. Well, sometimes if somebody steals your back wheel or something, you have a quick release on your back wheel.
Yeah.
It's just like somebody who wants some meth, some meth head,
right.
and like it's like really easy to take those off, so they steal a wheel.
Yeah.
But like this guy had like bolt cutters. Like I don't think it was a meth head because if it was a meth head, he probably would have sold those bolt cutters already.
Like he must have had like a smelter. What do they call it when they melt down steel or like that? Like he must have had one of those in the back of his truck, so you could just like steal bikes and then immediately melt them down for like the base metals or whatever.
And that was one of my first reactions is, well, when I had my wheel stolen a while ago, my friend Kevin Montgomery, friend of the show, he said, no offense, but who would want to steal your wheel? Like, it's not an expensive wheel. I'm like, yeah, good job. Like, that makes sense. And my bike was a beater bike that was not, like, didn't look desirable in any way.
I know.
And, like,
you would think with, like, all the gentrification that's gone on that, like, there would be, like, these cool bikes with, like, fucking Copenhagen self-driving wheels and all, all kinds of shit on them that people would, like, be much more interested in stealing than, no offense, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, no offense to my bike, rest in peace. Well, the thing is, like, when you lose your, like, something you use almost every day, then now I'm just kind of like, all right, where the fuck's my bike right now?
Right. Yeah. Like, who the fuck took it and how fast can I kick them in the balls?
And also, like, I put, like, a bunch of stickers on my bike.
Right.
Because, like, someone told me, like, if you have a bunch of stickers on your bike, it's harder for people to resell it because they have to, like, strip all those stickers off because it's very unique.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, fucking. You gotta be kidding. So I had a bunch of that.
You did that. You did everything you were supposed to do, pretty much.
Exactly. In fact, I had a cable because I didn't want somebody to steal the tires either. So I like ran a cable in between, and they just came through and I'm glad it didn't happen to my friend Mike who was with me, but his bike was like tied up on the meter right next to mine, and they didn't steal his.
I think you should be entitled to half of Mike's bike.
I'm like, okay, so if anybody's listening who stole my bike, just get in touch with me and tell me why you didn't steal Mike's bike instead.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they're such big fans of the show that they wanted some personal memorabilias.
That's true. I'll give you a headshot if you want. You want to give me my bike back?
That's right. I'll give you a replica bike. You can pretend it's my bike.
In the short time we've been here at Murphys, it's hot.
It is hot.
I don't know what's going on here.
Goddamn idiot.
I know. It's like, I don't know, it's like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock on a Wednesday. And, man, it is, I don't know what's going on. There's like no ventilation in the area that we're at.
Yeah, it's like, and it's, like you say, it's, it's pretty packed in and like, they're cooking fish and chips back there. So, that makes everything all hot.
In my field of vision where we're sitting, I can see the TV screen.
Yeah.
And, they keep showing like ads for like movies that are coming out, and it's like, what about the Steve Jobs movie? Are you interested in seeing that?
I mean, it's got everybody that's involved has like a really great pedigree. I mean, like like Danny Boyle's like He makes a good movie, and Aaron Sorkin's writing is fun usually.
I think maybe
And I like Fassbender, so like on the surface, I feel like it can't go wrong, but at the same time, I find personally the subject matter to be boring as hell.
Yeah.
So, but I probably thought the same thing about The Social Network, and that was really good. So,
I was just gonna say when I went in to see The Social Network, I was so ready to hate it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm going to
and
hate
especially when
this
people
movie.
like proclaim it like, oh, it's the movie about an entire decade or something like that. You're like, yeah, right. They probably fucked it up.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like The Social Network. They also showed a ad for Bridge of Spies, which I saw last week.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was
Tom Hanks movie,
boring
Steven
as
Spielberg?
fuck. I mean, it seemed very competent, but it was just really boring.
Yeah,
Like, you know who's gonna love that movie? Old people. You know who's not gonna love that movie? Everybody else. And it sucks because like I like Cold War stuff. Like I love all those stories, but it's just like not that interesting at all. It's like I thought it'd be a lot more.
I don't even
daring.
know what it's about, really. Is it like a...
It's about Francis Gary Powers. Yeah.
Okay.
He's like this U-2 spy plane guy who got shot down over Russia, and it was a super secret mission.
Right.
And instead of doing what he was supposed to do, and take this pill to kill himself,
Okay.
he didn't. Selfish motherfucker.
Asshole.
And then
Traitor.
then they caught him, and then they wanted to do like a spy exchange. And it's all about how Tom Hanks is this insurance lawyer, and he has to go in and...
Oh, so Tom Hanks doesn't play the guy.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, Tom Hanks, like, this is how boring it is. Tom Hanks plays an insurance lawyer, and he's the star. Jesus Christ.
It's like, sit down, everybody. Tom Hanks is an insurance lawyer.
All right, and here's a little like spoiler alert for any of you. if you're really gonna go see this movie, don't listen to this.
All right.
But here's the whole movie. Tom Hanks goes over there, and he says,
So far, so good.
And he says, "Hey, let's have a spy swap."
Yeah.
And they
Like,
say,
hey, it's me, Captain Phillips.
Exactly. And they go, "Okay, let's do that." And then Tom Hanks goes, "What about this other dude that you have in your prison? He's an American. Can we have him too?"
Like, hey, Joe Banks, relax.
And then they say no. And then he goes, "How about if we?" Then he asks them again, "Can we have him back?" And they're like, "Yeah, okay." And then they go to this bridge, and everything goes exactly as planned. Like, "Oh,
Wow.
thank you." Like, it's like, what the fuck, guys? it's like basically when they throw you no curveballs.
Right.
If you're sitting there and you know at that point in the movie where they're planning out their strategy, like, oh, let's do this, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And you expect, oh, something's going to go wrong, right? No, everything just goes exactly the way and then they roll the credits. It's like...
It sounds like the kind of movie that Ned Flanders would love.
Exactly. It's like it's not a roller coaster ride.
Right, like, what about those of us who just prefer our ice cream to be unflavored? Thank you.
Exactly. Rush.
Oh, and sad news to report from the world of the tech boom.
Oh, right.
Apparently there were a bunch of layoffs at Twitter. So, and I think you were like asking me before, like, oh yeah, like I thought that we were supposed to be in this big boom, and I guess my only response to that would be like, if you would ask me like why Twitter needs like 60,000 employees or something like that, I would not be able to tell you. I would assume that they need like 5 or 6 people to keep that thing running.
It turns out basically Twitter can run itself at this point.
Yeah. Like, hey, thanks for setting this up, everybody. Now beat it.
No, hit the road. Also, like another friend of mine, I forget where she works, but she got laid off too. So now it's starting people are getting laid off.
Right.
People is like starting to resort to like stealing bikes,
moving to Oakland, crazy shit like that.
So are we like actually on the cusp of like a bust?
Either that or people would be like, a unforeseen market correction.
Although you know what they do, like they say
that.
like these market corrections, and like the stock market just goes right back up. At least that's what happened the last time.
Yeah. But I mean, like, which is great if you were able to like salvage any money out of it, out of anything. If you're not completely broke, which like Speaking of which, I was happy to hear that Dov Charney of American Apparel went almost completely broke.
Oh, great.
So,
yeah, well, there was a market correction where, like, I know the Amazon stock got lost 100 points, and now it's back to its all-time high.
Jesus.
So it's like, yeah, it was like, oh, the market adjustment, it never should have been that high. And then 2 months later, it's fucking back to 560.
I wonder if they just do that to shake off the borderline poor people, or let's get rid of those assholes so that we can buy their stock and
Speaking of things that are kind of rigged, like the stock market,
right?
DraftKings.
Oh yeah.
And FanDuel.
Our buddies at DraftKings, our unpaid sponsor, DraftKings.com.
They're having such a bad week. I think that we actually may have a shot of getting them as a sponsor.
Which is funny because the week for me began with every day I go to 12th Street BART station to go to work, and I noticed that 12th Street BART station, it's not one of the marquee great BART stations that everybody goes to necessarily, but DraftKings.com was able to buy every ad in that entire BART station. So the whole thing, the entire station is DraftKings.com themed, basically.
Somebody on
but anyway, go ahead. Then they started having a bad week.
They started having a bad week. They found out that people who were working for one of the companies are placing bets on other companies, and they're getting
Which
paid
was bound to happen. I mean,
but they're getting paid they're winning $300,000 a year, they're getting paid whatever 5 times whatever they make on their salary. And I guess I don't do any of those stupid daily fantasy things.
Yeah, it's
but
ridiculous.
I guess the whole point is what you need to do is you need to have everybody starts with the same amount of money, and you have to buy players.
Yeah.
And if you buy all the good players that everybody else buys, you'll never win.
Right.
Because everybody has the same players.
Right.
So what these guys were doing is they were looking at their own stats and seeing the trend of who's buying what, and then they look for a sleeper pick.
Well, and didn't they have they had access to the numbers before other people did too, so that they're using insider information essentially, to even if you were to buy into the horse shit that this is a skill, if you have information before somebody else, that's insider trading.
Right. Exactly. And I guess now the FBI is investigating them. Who knows? Come next week, it may be totally illegal, and they have to shut everything down.
If that doesn't get them, this thing that came out today, anybody that was expecting the main attack against these guys to come from anti-gambling groups was totally wrong, because the people that are going to come after you first are going to be the fucking Vegas guys that are losing all their money. And so the Vegas attorneys got involved and have basically declared that this is against Nevada state law and ordered them to cease and desist.
Yeah, they can't
Episode
do it.
132.
There are some states like Arizona, Washington State, and now I think Nevada where you can't do daily fantasy.
Nice.
You know what's weird?
I'm glad.
I have
screw them.
There's this website where I get a lot of feeds, European feeds, when if I want to watch a baseball game, it just comes from Europe.
Right.
So, by the way, nobody should ever have to pay for television ever again.
Right.
Okay. So, could I get another glass of wine?
Yeah, and can I get a calamari as well?
So I'm watching this feed from London, and guess what? They have ads all about fucking betting. They have in at least in Britain.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
It's all over the place.
Yeah,
In fact, somebody was saying at soccer games, you can go and the highest bet you can make is £100.
Right. But you can do it at the game.
At the game, right?
Nice.
Is that 100 quid?
Probably, yeah, sure.
Sure. I'd like to put a 50 squid on that team over there.
Speaking of calamari that I just ordered.
All right, you want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
All right. I think that's all I have to say about those scumbags at Fans Rule.
So if that's the only reason you're tuning in, you can turn off now.
All right, this is SFBarkast. We'll be back from Murphys Pub. All right, and we are back at Murph's.
So
Murphys.
much shrieking.
What's that?
I said so much shrieking.
I know. It's weird. Like, I've been out of the workforce for a little while, but I remember like that thought you had, like, oh, we're all gonna go get drinks after work and stuff.
Right.
And like, when we sat down here, I was just like, why is everybody so loud? Like, why is everybody like? And I realized, wait a minute, you got to keep in mind, like, after like 8 hours of just basically
eating their boss's shit.
Yeah, sticking your nose up the crack in the boss's ass. You're just like, yeah, you know what? I need a drink and I need to unwind, and I'm going to be loud.
Right, and I need to turn to my coworker and be like, hey, our boss's ass sure smells bad, doesn't it?
It's like, yeah, you can go have some drinks, get all loose-lipped, and then talk shit about like people like you work with.
I feel like it's funny though, because like, for a city, not to sound all high and mighty like, oh, that kind of crap might fly in Milwaukee, but this is San Francisco, California. But like, yeah, like this place does sort of have a very I'm going to say Red Robin or like, Purple Onion kind of Applebee's sort of crowd to it.
I don't know why I have this impression, because I don't have that much of a connection with Chicago, but it feels like a Chicago bar to me.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good call, actually. Like, it's got a very it's full of Belushis.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's full of Belushis and Demi Moore's character in About Last Night.
Or I don't know, the Tom Hanks character in
Captain Phillips.
no, that didn't say that. That was only half of that movie was in Chicago.
Remember, he had a hardcore Chicago accent in that movie.
Oh man, now I can't remember the name of the movie. It was the movie where it was Tom Hanks and Jackie Gleason, who's from the '80s.
Oh, nothing
in common.
Nothing in common. There we go.
Yes.
I was like, nothing matters. Nothing.
Nothing matters. Nothing good to see here.
Nobody come see this movie.
But yeah, like that movie takes place in Chicago, and like he goes down to this Chicago bar, and I think it's because they have exposed brick here.
Yeah,
that
that's part of it.
Makes it feel like it's Chicago to me.
Yeah, like they're gonna bring you a burned pizza, and yeah.
I'm really easy. Speaking of Chicago, the feel-good story about the Major League Baseball playoffs is the Cubs are doing well.
Yeah.
And people have pointed out online that in the movie Back to the Future 2, he travels to 2015, and then he sees his hologram and says, Cubs win World Series.
And it was like a joke. It's like, can you imagine a dystopian future where the Cubs are allowed to win?
They're definitely, I believe, after seeing that, I'm like, I believe in multiple universes, because that must be the fucked up universe where the Cubs win.
I believe in that scenario that the survivors would envy the dead.
Listen to just
Christ.
Listen to that shit. Oh, I love making fun of people.
It's like a bachelorette party without the penis cakes.
So, and like I'm like looking, I can see like all the drinks they're bringing them.
Yeah.
They only had like 2 rounds.
Yeah.
You haven't had enough to be fucking
save your real like top-notch asshole behavior for later on when
exactly.
when people will write it off as like you being drunk.
You're gonna need it. So the Cubs are the feel-good story in the Major League Baseball playoffs,
specifically like because of their hipster manager Joe Madden, and I can't imagine like if the Cubs win and Theo Epstein wins.
Oh, geez. Like, he's going to light up the biggest cigar.
But it's essentially like he sort of becomes like the greatest like GM of all time, right? I mean,
absolutely.
You can't lead 2 like teams like
Yeah, you can't fuck with like winning like since 1918 to 2004 with the Red Sox, and then since 1906 to like 2015.
Like he'll probably be hired by like some like British like soccer club like Leeds United or something that like has never won. Like, and he'll be like, I know nothing about soccer. What are you doing?
If you were Theo, would you mic drop and like leave after they win?
I mean, yeah. Well, maybe not.
There's no more lands to conquer.
Exactly. He has like he has 2 major metropolitan areas in the United States where like he never has to buy a drink for the rest of his life, and like everyone thinks he's God.
You know who's probably eyeballing him right now? The Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, shit, no shit. Like LeBron James, like
Yeah, I think like Cleveland is the city that has the longest drought of all sports.
Oh, just like for well, it's
Like
been a long time since the Cleveland Lumberjacks won a minor league hockey title.
Are there Lumberjacks in Cleveland? That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, but like I'm pretty sure that's the name of their team.
Cleveland Meth Heads.
Wow. So like I'm trying to think like the last anything that Cleveland won, right? Like
not the Browns, not the Indians,
not the Indians,
not the Cavs.
Wow, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, pretty rough over there. Brutal.
Not even any like has there been like I guess Ohio State. Like
Columbus.
I know, but it's still like if you're in the state of Ohio, you're probably like, oh, that's like
Yeah, if you
I don't like any of those other teams. I like the one that's winning.
Here's the thing, Cleveland. If you're listening, you may not have won any sporting events in like forever,
Right.
but you know what you did win? You won the last presidential election. I know this because like one of my friends like worked like pretty hand in hand and like pretty high up in the Obama re-election campaign.
Yeah.
And they said they just descended upon Cleveland because
Really?
they knew that Ohio was a swing state.
Yeah.
And then they said within that swing state, the biggest swing city was Cleveland.
Oh wow.
And so they just fucking like carpet bombed.
Yeah.
Cleveland. And then they ended up carrying Ohio.
Speaking of which, I read briefly. I read a report that like some sort of Eric Snowden-esque report came out today that like out of all the drone attacks since like 2012, like 95% of them have killed like civilians.
Whoops.
Like so like which leads me to question like, so will Obama be like sort of like the Harry Truman of like the next 100 years where people will be like, yeah, you know what, he did a lot of great things, and like other people will be like, yeah, but he killed a lot of fucking people, like
Yeah.
indiscriminately as well.
Well, the thing is, like, people love drones because, it doesn't put our heroic soldiers in the way of
Right.
the line of fire. I'm looking at you, Mom. But how about if we have evidence, like this report today, that these drone attacks, like, are like just fucking blowing up indiscriminate weddings?
Well, and like, I thought like a lot of, I guess like the drones are like operated from like this base in Las Vegas, where like so it's like guys that are good at video games like get recruited to like come and like pilot drones into like hospitals from like 10,000 miles away, and like those guys have to be like fucking suspect one on the like PTSD, like who's gonna like go crazy and shoot up a school, because like those guys are like literally like just murdering people from 10,000 miles away. It's got to fuck you up completely.
I heard that like those guys have some of the worst PTSD or some of the worst
mental issues.
Mental issues after. And my response to that is, come on, guys, what the fuck? You're playing video games. I know in your mind you're internalizing, you're blowing people up.
Right.
But like, talk to somebody who actually saw like combat. It's like, oh yeah, I have like PTSD and a little carpal tunnel. I had my leg shot off.
I thought you were going to go the other direction and be like, oh yeah, you think that's a hard video game? Try playing Defender for like 4 hours straight.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever played Defender? It's not easy, dude.
Sorry, what do you have to like be on target for like 10 minutes or something? Screw you.
All right, you want to do the sports report?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like we talked about the Cubs a little bit, and like some of the other sports news is pretty depressing. Like the whole Lamar Odom thing.
Oh God.
Came out in the last couple days, and like he's, as of this recording, still alive, but like.
But who knows?
Yeah, and like the weird thing about like the weird sort of turn that story took for me, like, was like when they. Like, I forget who it was, like maybe it was like TMZ that sort of released like a lot of it, but like they were saying that he just likes to, he's been really depressed and he likes to go up there and relax for a few days at a time, but like, so.
Relax at a brothel.
Yeah, it's a brothel, and like.
One time I relaxed 3 times at a brothel.
Well, and like, so according to like the reports, like he'd been there for 3 days, sleeping there, like basically dropped like $75,000 to like stay there for like 3 nights and like with like 3 girls or whatever. and like was also like hopped up on some sort of like weird like herbal Viagra,
Yeah.
and then like the reports came out that like when they rolled him over, he had like a bucket of coke on his face as well. So he's been doing coke and fucking and like taking Viagra for 3 days.
Let me tell you something.
Of course he's gonna like fucking pass out and die.
Let me tell you something. When I struggle with depression, it's nothing like that. Okay.
Well, and like somebody actually phrased it as like he needs to go up and relax. It's like relax. Like, what the fuck does he do to like blow off steam?
He needs to go to sleep. It's like you're saying, like he's bummed out, so he goes to this, like drops all this money and like does all these drugs, and it's like, yeah, your depression and my depression are totally different things.
Christ.
Yeah, that's really sad. So, because like they have no idea if he's going to pull it. Like somebody this morning said that they're at that point where they're giving percentages.
Yeah.
It's like,
and like I heard like he's at some sort of like plateau where if like he doesn't improve like in the next 24 hours, like he's not going to improve ever. But
and because it's in Nevada, they're really good at giving odds. So I think he's like negative 400 if he's going to pull through.
I'm betting the money line.
So yeah, Doc, give me the money line on whether he's going to pull through.
Parlay it with. I can't even think of anybody else who's sick. Like actually, I think my wife actually pointed out the other day that like we seem to be in a drought of like celebrity deaths. So I'm sure that'll probably trigger like 20 of them now.
Yeah, it's true. I haven't heard. Yeah, and she's right. I haven't like made notice of anyone. It's always like weird.
Apologies to anyone who's died in the last couple of weeks. We're like, they're not important.
It's been a while for a celebrity death when like you read something and you're just like, who? It's like, one of the guys on My Three Sons. What am I living inside a Frank Conniff joke?
Well, it's always nice too when you like see somebody that like you thought had died like 10 years ago and like they're still alive. Like
Joe Cocker.
Joe Cocker's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, but when Joe Cocker died like a year ago, and
really
everybody was like saying, "Wait a minute, I thought he was dead already."
Oh, holy shit, you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Like, I was thinking like there was some expose about like the facts of life that's coming out that is written by like Mrs. Garrett, and then she's still alive. I'm like, I had no idea.
Hopefully, it'll be the definitive facts of life expose, because I'm sick of all the unauthorized ones.
Fantastic.
So aside from who do we have left in the in baseball? We have the
Royals. The Royals made it through. Toronto, like which was that was a great series. Like even though I could give a shit about Texas, so like it was kind of cool to see. Like, and actually I read today that a certain person that was sitting in the front row of the Sky Dome for that game said it was the most intense experience of their whole life. And that was Geddy Lee of Rush.
Oh, wow. More intense than that.
Like 20-minute Neil Peart solo at the end of Tom Sawyer.
More intense than when you ran out of donuts and beer in the studio. Yeah, actually, that seventh inning supposedly took 53 minutes.
Jesus Christ, that's ridiculous.
Which I was kind of like, everyone's just like, oh my God, it was like the most historic inning of baseball. I was like
dullest.
I was like trying to stay awake. But not because of the game. I was just tired, so I was like in and out, and I kept like every time I like woke up, I looked at I was like, holy shit, the game's
still going on.
Like this inning's still going on.
That should be like baseball's new slogan. Actually, is like this is still going on.
It's just thing like baseball is my third favorite sport. But the thing about like baseball, good baseball is great.
Yeah.
Like mediocre baseball is awful.
Right. Well, especially now, like the regular season, it's like 162 games, right? And it's almost entirely meaningless now. Like, I mean, I can understand. You want more teams involved in the playoffs. You want more people interested and everything like that. You don't want a team mathematically eliminated 20 games into the season. But at the same time, like, if you're gonna like bring more teams in, you got to cut the season down.
Yeah,
because like you just
absolutely.
Because now like the whole season takes like 10 months, and and a month and a half of it is really exciting, and the other 8.5 months are boring as shit.
Right. And the thing is, like, yeah, like they want to, like, people are saying, oh, it's totally unfair to have like a one-game playoff. I'm like, you have 162 games.
Yeah, like, you know what? Like,
and you know what? Here's
win one of those games, win one game more than that other team, and you won't have to worry
you don't
about
have to worry about the shit.
Right.
One of my big criticisms of the baseball, like, postseason is all the champagne celebrations.
Oh, like every round or every
round.
Right.
Dude, what the fuck? It's like, dude, like, that would be like if like they had like a champagne celebration for every playoff football game.
Right.
It's like they wouldn't do that. They would just be like, no, now we have to like win another fucking game.
Right.
But like, when you think about it, okay, so when a team makes it into the playoffs, they have a celebration with champagne. And if you get the play-in wild card game and you win that, you have a celebration with champagne. And then if you win the next
divisional series,
then champagne. And then you have
League championship
series, champagne. And then World Series, champagne.
Really?
It's like, what the fuck, guys? It's like nothing. Like, if everything's special, nothing's special. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, just make the whole sport like everybody wins a ribbon day.
Right. I know. And I don't know. I just can't imagine people going crazy because they won some random, like, you know, fucking play-in wild card game.
It's like the crazy thing about like international soccer and shit like that is that they don't even have playoffs at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, like the regular season champion is, the champion, and that's it. Like,
there's something to be said for that because my fantasy baseball leagues just wrapped up.
Right.
And I won the season. Like, I came in first for the season. And then in one of the leagues I'm in, I won it all. So I was happy about that. In the other league, like, my team just didn't show up. But so, like, it's kind of like and the person I lost to, that person's the champion, even though they just, like, they snuck in the back door of, like, the playoffs.
Well, there's a whole lot of weird things that sort of happen at the end of a season too, where like if a team's out of contention, it's like, we're not going to play this guy anymore. Fuck it. Like,
absolutely.
And all kinds of shit like that. So it's like to essentially like make the most important part of the season, like the last 3 weeks, is like terrible for like like how could anybody predict what's like, this guy's going to come in once the Blue Jays clinch, and like, and this guy has to go on the bench.
That's exactly what happened with me. Like, I had like Troy Tulowitzki was one of my like power like shortstops.
Yeah.
And like towards the end of the season, he's like, they're saving him for the fucking playoffs. He's not playing. So like, basically I'm like a man down. Like, not even a man, like a fucking MVP candidate down on my team.
Right.
And then I don't win. And then, like, I got to, like, eat shit from this other jackass for the entire year.
All right. What do you say? You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break. All right, this is SFBarkast, and I am doing all my complaining at Murphys Pub. When I go to complain, I go to Murphys Pub.
Murphs.
Murphs.
Quando tu verrai, dimmi quando, ti cacciando tu verrai, non se le creeremo mai quando.
Thank you.
All right, and we are back at Murphys, and the shouting continues.
Oh God, it's like it's only getting worse.
I know.
I didn't think that it could. Like we said last segment, like I thought they'd like plateaued too early, but like it's like one of those babies that like has like an octave that you didn't even know existed when they start to cry. Where you're like, this is as bad as it can get, and then it's like, nah.
You could write like a thesis, your doctorate thesis on the cause and effect relationship with alcohol and volume.
Right.
Oh my God.
It's like a doctoral thesis called like booze and the loud cunt.
Let me tell you, these HR girls sitting right next to us, they're going to sleep good tonight because they've been crying all this whole time we're here.
Right.
Actually, you know what? This is a terrible stereotype.
Yeah.
But I had an old roommate and said that like HR girls are always like they're always like the most attractive,
Right.
like most organized, dumbest girls. And I know it's totally prejudiced, but like, yeah, he's like basically they're like the cute girls who come out of like Arizona State or whatever that everybody loves having around, and they're good at organizing, but they're not like. Whatever.
Well, no offense to my wife or my niece. Or
oh wait, does your
anybody.
wife do HR? I thought she did insurance.
Well, it's the company is sort of like a HR outsource company or whatever. Like so, it's like a.
Whoa,
yeah.
boy,
Well,
did I step in it.
No, not at all. Like, she would probably be the first to agree with you, if she weren't so stupid.
Well, all it means, I think, look on the bright side. I just said they're all very attractive. There you go.
Exactly. There we go. Like, you like being attractive, don't you, honey?
Exactly.
Yeah, dummy.
Don't stress your small brain on this.
That's right. Thinking gives you wrinkles.
This weekend, the Treasure Island Music Festival is upon us, and one of my trivia questions last couple weeks ago was, who are the two headlining acts for the Saturday and Sunday at Treasure Island?
Let's see. Is one of them Dead Mouse?
Yes, the Dead Mouse, I believe, is on Sunday.
Or Dead MAU 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how that's said.
That's a good Halloween costume. I saw two guys go as Dead Mouse one year.
It's a good idea, actually. If you happen to have a bunch of electronics and a giant mouse head.
Right, exactly.
Wow, who's the other one? Is it like, I don't know, is it some like old performer like Elton John or like Paul McCartney or something?
Yeah, they are often mistaken for strangers.
Wait a minute.
It is the National.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That was a great movie, actually. I love.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It's really good. I was surprised. I'm not even like that really into the National, but like it was really interesting, like because it was just sort of about like his loser brother.
It's a movie called Mistaken for Strangers, which is also
Right.
the name of one of their best songs.
Right.
And it's about the relationship between the lead singer of the National and his did you say his loser brother?
Well, yeah, it's like it's
I
like
haven't seen it, so I can't say if he's a loser.
it's like his brother that sort of like really wants to be a part of like what's going on with his successful rock star brother. So he's kind of like
Sounds
hey,
weird.
like like
That sounds like some Chuck and Buck shit.
a little bit, yeah.
Tell me
It doesn't take quite that drastic of a turn, but
he doesn't try to blow him at some one point.
spoiler alert.
So
For those of you who haven't seen Chuck and Buck.
Also, another trivia question I had was San Francisco trivia.
Right.
What came first, the Outside Lands Music Festival or the Treasure Island Music Festival?
Ooh, wow, that is a good question. Is it Treasure Island?
It is Treasure Island by 1 year. I believe it was 2007 that they started that, and in Outside Lands it was 2008.
Right.
So, who cares trivia? So are you interested in going to like anything? Oh, well, you didn't know. Do you know any of the bands that are playing at Treasure Island this weekend?
Well, I know that the War on Drugs I think is playing, aren't they?
Yes.
And like
I'd like to
that's-
see them.
Yeah, like that's I think like out of like the whole lineup, like there weren't. There wasn't anybody that really jumped out at me besides maybe like War on Drugs.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is like it was kind of like I wouldn't mind seeing them, but I'm not also I don't want to stand around like.
I know the last time I went, Japan Droids were playing, and I have to admit I do love I went to Outside Lands like 2 years ago, and it was for the first time, and it's good, but it's like it's so goddamn big.
Right.
Like
well, wait. Treasure Island or
Outside Lands.
Oh, okay,
Outside
all
Lands.
right.
Like 2 years ago for the first time I went to Outside Lands.
Oh, okay, all right.
And it's great, but like when you see a list of all the bands that you're going to see at like a festival,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, look, think of all these bands I'm going to see. It's like, no, you're not going to see like you're only
you
going to
see,
see
like,
a
4 or
third of
5
them,
bands.
a fourth of
Like,
them. Yeah.
right.
Because and especially at Outside Lands because you're running from like place to place to try to see catch like a fucking glimpse of like some band before like some other like band goes on.
Right.
But at Treasure Island there's only 2 stages. And they're basically, you can like turn and see one and just turn and see the other.
Holy shit.
So, and they do a good job of alternating it. So,
Oh, okay, I see. So none of they're not both playing at the same time.
no, not at the same time. But it's like, yeah, like when
I was gonna say like that sounds like it would be like a cacophonous mess. Like we're just like
fight it
we're all
out.
gonna play at the same time and like
who's gonna win, film school or spiritualized?
that's right. Mastodon or Tricky.
Right. But actually, I think this is the first year they've had. Well, I haven't been to Treasure Island in a while, but the first year I remember that they've had a comedy tent at Treasure Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that I'm sort of curious about that.
Yeah.
And
even though I have my own well-known opinions about comedy in an outdoor festival arena, but I'm against it.
Are you not going to fucking like share that with us?
Well, no, I thought I did already. Like at some point, like
You don't like it?
I'm not a fan of the big outdoor comedy thing. Like I think
Like Comedy Day.
Yeah, well, comedy day, and especially like the oddball festival at Shoreline Amphitheater and all that stuff where it's like.
Where's that again?
That's like
Is that in
Shoreline
LA?
Amphitheater down in like
Oh,
Mountain
right,
View.
yeah.
And so it's
that
like,
sounds like the fucking worst place to do
oh
comedy.
god, it's like a 12,000 seat like fucking venue made for like the Doobie Brothers or something. It's not and like you've got like Jeff Ross like walking up and just shouting at people like it's.
I mean, like I know some people who went to the Oddball Festival and their big thing was like, you know what, I'm just going to buy some like lawn tickets and sit out in the lawn and then listen from up there. I'm like, why don't you just stay home and listen to a comedy album?
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, at least there won't be like a 5-second delay between like the guy saying it and like the audience reacting.
Yeah, or like you can just like find somebody who's periscoping it.
Right. That's the thing is that I feel like any comedian who considers themselves an artist, like which I mean on the face of it it sounds pretentious and silly and stuff like that.
No, but
there's a lot of comedians that do consider it to be an art, and like I feel like that doing like a festival like that cheapens it to the point where like it's you're sort of like trying to show somebody like a painting from like 100 yards away, like
it's true.
Like
and also, it's like it's like a comedy is like one dude on stage or one girl on stage.
Yeah, like
and it's like like that's what makes like comedy clubs kind of cool because you're up close.
Right. Yeah.
You get to like kind of.
There's at least an illusion of sort of like a one-on-one relationship in a weird way, like because it's like this guy's like breathing the same air I am, like he's and we're so
I
we're
can smell them.
exactly.
And, for a lot of comics, you can smell them. Jesus Christ.
Right. It's like, he hasn't showered for weeks.
But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine going to like a big outdoor. Although I went to Comedy Day once, and that's cool because it's free.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I don't really have a problem with that because it does seem like the spirit of that is much more of a like, like hey, like it's I mean, people don't necessarily go to catch Anthony Jeselnik's best, 20 minutes or whatever at the Comedy Day anyway.
Yeah, and Comedy Day, you can go there and if something really bad goes wrong and Barry Sobel gets on stage, well, you get what you pay for because it's free.
That's right. You can go find a drum circle in another part of the park.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh, so Treasure Island. Have you been watching any movies or TV?
Let's see. You know what? Like, we're actually kind of finally coming out of the doldrums of summer, I guess, and like, there's a lot of shows starting back up again. Like I think this Friday the Nick starts back up.
Ooh, yeah.
And so that should be good. And like as I was listening to somebody who was interviewing the black guy that plays the doctor on that show, and he was saying like it's great to have like the Nick back, but it was also great to have like a few months off from it as well.
Why? Because it's so taxing.
Well, because it's like it's kind of a grueling watch, So like if they just
absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I can't wait to like see it, but like, yeah, like that all that early like surgery stuff. It's like fucking trial and error.
Well,
and
I want to say that like this season 2 is going to go a lot more into like mental like disorders and mental health, which like
John Hodgman.
turn of the 18th 19th century like mental like theories and practices like are pretty horrifying when you read about them.
Like the very small part of like the first season where they had a little bit of that. It's like, oh, this woman is having some mental health issues. Let's rip all of her teeth out.
Exactly. Like
You know, it only makes sense.
Well, will that make her sane? Well, it won't make her less insane.
Yeah, like everybody, nobody has a bad reaction to having your teeth removed.
Like, as we all know, like, mental illness comes from the teeth. I mean, like, that's pretty established science, people.
Are you getting excited for Halloween?
Yeah, a little bit, sure. Like,
Do you have trick-or-treaters in your neighborhood?
Yeah, and actually last year we gave out candy. I think the year before that we might have skipped it, but like, it's fun, but at the same time, like.
Wait, how do you skip it? Like, if kids like ring your doorbell, you just go away.
I have a court order. You're not allowed to be within 50 feet of me.
You came here. I just want to point that out in case anybody's like filming
Plausible deniability. No, like I think you pretty much you go dark as they say in the military. Like you just you shut all the lights off and find a television in the back of the house that won't clue anybody into your existence.
What about, I know a lot of people, Drew Harmon's one of them, he watches a lot, and my buddy Paul Abrego, who's been on the show.
Yeah.
They both watch a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, that's what losers do.
Do you have a favorite horror movie that you watch?
I don't have one that I regularly watch. I mean, like, if I had to pick, like, my favorite horror movie of all time or something, like, it would probably be something like The Shining or something like that. Like
Alien.
Alien's a good choice, actually. Yeah, that's a scary movie for sure.
That's true. It's very scary. The Exorcist, The Shining.
Exorcist, yeah. Shining's good. Yeah, you know what? Like, I'm not like not hugely into scary. Like, yeah, like the whole sort of like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, like all that shit. Like, I could live without. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I'm like all that like torture, like Saw stuff. Like, I don't like any of that stuff.
Yeah. Like,
but the thing is, like, that stuff makes so much money because it costs like $6 million to make, and it makes $80 million. So as long as that trend keeps up, they're just going to keep making those movies.
Well, with the way like the movie industry is now too, where it's like all international, like something like a guy getting cut up into a bunch of pieces, that translates into any language.
Yeah,
so
you know what? And you know what doesn't like do well internationally is
James L. Brooks movies.
Well, comedies.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
When you look at like if you go to Box Office Mojo and you look at like the international and like the domestic box office for action movies,
right?
Like the domestic box office is like a fourth of what an action movie makes overseas.
Yeah.
So like the overseas markets are becoming much and much more like, they have to cater to those markets so much more now. And for comedies, they try to do that, and it just doesn't. Like, who knew? People in India don't like fart jokes.
Who knew? Bangladesh isn't hip to Adam Sandler's particular brand of humor.
Right, exactly. All that sort of very referential, like comedy stuff. Like, nobody likes that shit.
Some guy half drowning in a rice paddy really doesn't give a shit about grown-ups.
That's true. A friend of mine is going back and watching all the Universal horror, like monster movies.
Yeah.
And
so you
it
think
seems
that makes it better than us?
I think it makes them worse. But like they're like
He's trying to win like some sort of time-wasting award.
You win. Does Nobel give out a prize for time wasting? But like, yeah, those movies are like Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman. I think Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay, yeah. Like
it's so weird. When I was a kid,
all the lunchbox
like
ones.
Growing up outside of Boston, like TV 56 had Channel 56 had the Creature double feature.
Oh, okay.
And when you go back and like I remember
Count
like
Floyd.
watching. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like Count like Uncle Floyd's creepy stories or something like that. But they like when I remember when being a kid, like watching some of those old monster movies and being like riveted. Now, like I see them, I just want to kick the set in. Hey, speaking of which, I went back. I saw Jeff Tate, the comedian.
Yeah.
And one of his favorite movies of all time is Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh yeah.
And Joe Starr, who's another LA comic, his favorite movie of all time is Big Trouble in Little China. And I haven't seen it since it was in the theater.
Oh, wow.
So like a couple nights ago, I went back to like watch it. Now
It's a pretty fun movie.
Some people think that is a good movie. Some people think it's a bad movie. That movie is horrible. Like,
There's a lot. I mean, like,
what
yeah,
the
it's
fuck
a
are you guys-
goofy fucking movie for
It
sure.
is a really goofy, campy movie. But
Yeah.
you know, like if you're doing something campy, you watch like some John Waters stuff,
Right.
and you're like, oh, this is all tongue in cheek. They're winking at the camera.
Right.
It's like, nah. This is. I mean, I had the absolute like bad. I had to turn it off.
Oh my God.
I was just like, I remember like thinking, oh, it starts out really weak and then it gets better, and I was like,
Right.
when is this gonna happen? When is it gonna happen?
The
So, my apologies to those comics.
my apologies to John Carpenter.
Well, my friend Paul, he one of the big movies he watches every October is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he's
that
like,
makes
yeah,
sense.
he's like, my daughter loved that movie. It's so scary. It's so great. I'm like, yeah, it's a great movie. I said, you should show her Big Trouble in Little China. He's like, yeah, I tried to show that to her and she really didn't like it. And guess what? I'm agreeing with his like teenage daughter.
You know, the guy that wrote that movie actually is the guy that did Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like that's like, I feel like those are the only two things that he ever did, which was really weird.
Now I'm afraid to go back and watch Buckaroo Banzai because I remember thinking that was really good. And I mean, not everything's going to be like Blade Runner or like Repo Man. That when you watch it like years later, you're like, this is still awesome.
Naming characters John Smallberries and like Johnny Ding Dong. Like,
Johnny Ding Dong.
Like that's the kind of lightning that only strikes once.
I started watching Mr. Robot.
Yeah. I'm still like plugging my way slowly through Narcos and
I know.
and what's the other one I'm in the middle of? Oh, still that Show Me a Hero. Like yeah.
Oh, I finished that.
Oh, you did finish that? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Like I thought I had finished it because like I want to say like episode 4 of it or whatever felt completely like a finale. Like it's like everything like wrapped up in a nice neat package. And I'm like, oh, okay, well that's that then. And then I'm like, wait a minute, there's 2 more episodes of this thing.
The one like interesting thing that happened to me recently is, I was talking to Drew Harmon, and he said that
I mean, way too much on this episode, by the way.
So there was some other comic that he was talking to, and we were talking about downloading like movies and stuff, and he said that there was some comic who said like, yeah, he's like, I keep getting these like emails saying that like they've tagged me for some sort of copyright downloading infringement, and he goes, I just ignore them. I just like delete them. And I was like, wow, it's weird because I've been like downloading like from torrents for a while, and I never got one of those emails. Guess what? Just recently, I got an email saying that somebody reported that I downloaded a copyrighted.
Drew Harmon turned you in.
I know. And I'm looking at you, Harmon. Goddamn narc. So now I have to like learn Tor. You know what Tor is?
No.
It's like it's basically something that you use to do all your nefarious shit.
Oh, okay.
Like it just anonymizes you.
Oh, okay. So like like a VPN or whatever, like throws it around or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool.
So
Well, I mean, that'll be good to have in case you ever need to like hack into the government mainframe or whatever. You know?
disappear like Mr. Robot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Aside from that, I saw The Darkness after like years and years. Like when The Darkness's first album came out, Permission to Land, it was a great album, and there was a lot of debate within I don't know, hipster circles because like a lot of like music critics loved the album,
Yeah.
and then all these hipsters were losing their mind because they're like, no, they're just like they're aping hair metal.
Right. Like that.
And
It's mockery. Mockery, I say.
And then, like, people, there was like this argument, like, okay, yeah, but like, what if, like, they know they're doing it, right? But people were like, wait, no, that doesn't absolve you from like making shitty music. So the thing is, like, the music's not shitty. It's great.
It's not. Yeah. Like, I always felt that way. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
We're just recording ourselves. No.
No.
Oh, is there a show downstairs? Okay. Thanks. No, we're all set.
I'm good. Thanks.
What are we doing
now
over
that
here?
now that the people
What are we
like,
doing over here? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing in your living room? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Fantastic.
Anyway, so The Darkness were great. and let's take a break, and then we'll come back and do some bad Yelp reviews, and
That
I can
sounds great.
talk more shit about getting my bike stolen. All right, this is SF Barkast. We'll be back from at Murphy's Pub. Murphy.
Murphys. What do you think of Murphys?
I think it's good so far.
Like, it has been miserably hot back in this corner where
You know
we
what?
are.
It's definitely cooled down. I'll say that
It
much.
has, yeah.
Although, you know what? The sun's gone down.
It cooled down when the crowd of miserable assholes next to us stopped yelling.
Good God. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe like when you have a bunch of after work,
Hot breath, fucking
screaming, a bunch of hot air blowing out of their mouths.
Yeah, exactly.
Murphys. Well, I'm trying to think of my favorite Murphys. Murphy's Law. That was a Charles Bronson movie.
Dale Murphy
Dale Murphy.
of the Atlanta Braves.
The Jack Nicholson character in Cuckoo's Nest was named McMurtry. Oh no, it's not Murphy. It's McMurtry. Close.
Murfreesboro is a city in Arkansas or something, I think.
What?
Murfreesboro.
Andrew, you don't have to make shit up. So I was looking up some bad Yelp reviews for Murphy's Pub,
Yeah.
and yeah, we're all set. Actually, could I get another glass of wine? Yeah, thanks. The service is whatever. What do you say when people say, when an actor doesn't get along with another actor?
Yeah.
When in an interview they say oh, so how do you like Kiefer or whoever
Right.
and they just say, well, Kiefer's Kiefer.
He's
that just means
he's one of a kind. He's really
yeah, that
really
means
unlike other people that I like.
I would very much like to answer that, but I'm going to hold my tongue. And basically, he's saying that's like saying that person is a motherfucker,
Right.
and fuck that person.
So that's just Kiefer being Kiefer, and by Kiefer I mean a total asshole.
But actually, so far I do like it. I mean, they let me keep my hat on, not like what is it, legal notice or
Legal notice, local edition,
local edition, whatever.
What's it called? Cease and desist.
I'm used to that one. So give me your bad Yelp review for Murphy's Pub before the waitress who so desperately wants to be on the podcast comes back.
All right. I'll try to make this one as quick as possible. Then, Brooke C from undisclosed location writes,
What's the C stand for?
you caught me. I'm gonna say crazy good times.
Wait, is it Brooke with BROOK or BROOKE?
It's Brooke with an E, so
So
it's not Brooke as in
female.
creek. It's
Okay, yeah. No, because I had a friend who's male, and his name was
Oh,
Brooke.
I see. Oh, okay.
But
that sounds like a high class guy's name.
Yeah. It was a better name.
Like
It was
Lawrence.
a higher class for him.
I believe Arlie Ermery in Full Metal Jacket had some things to say about the name Lawrence.
Lawrence, that sounds like royalty.
All right, so Brooke C, who may or may not be royalty,
See you next Tuesday.
right? We went at night, and a person from... First of all, I just want to say that I think all of this is bullshit. But, okay, we went at night, and a person from my party bit into a chunk of porcelain that was in her cold slaw. C-O-L-D slaw. Cold slaw.
Cold slaw?
I think she just doesn't know what coleslaw is. So, bit into a chunk of porcelain. When she told the waitress said that she could give her a free drink, but not comp her meal. The waitress said, quote, "It's not like you're bleeding or anything." One of my friends talked her into comping our meal, but the waitress seemed really annoyed by us. They were really understaffed that night, and you could tell the waitress was really stressed, and her attitude was unacceptable.
Okay, so in that situation,
Not going back.
if somebody says, if you complain and someone says, well, it's not like you're bleeding or anything, do you bite down on your inner cheek right then and go, look, I mean, is it worth a free meal?
I find that so difficult to believe that that they bit into the coleslaw had pieces of broken up toilet in it or something, and and that like B that the bartender's reaction would be like, "Shut up, you're not bleeding."
Although, let me tell you something. If that is accurate, that the waitress or the bartender was like,
monster.
"Hey, walk it off," I'm like, that's totally perfect for like a sports Irish bar.
Right? Yeah.
Isn't it?
I was
Just
gonna
be
say,
like,
I thought you were gonna say like it'd be totally perfect like if you were an aspiring lawyer and wanted to sue them or something like.
also
Why
like
I don't think it happened.
there is in any like story like that, I always have to like look at the other side. It's like that could be kind of a grift too. It's like,
Oh yeah.
oh hey, you know what?
Ooh, my tooth, it's broken.
Exactly. I need a free meal.
It's like that's a Tic Tac, sir.
It's like, why don't you just like carry some shit in and put it on the plate? Just be like, how come there's shit on this plate?
Exactly.
I want the whole meal for free.
You just bring like a bunch of like construction supplies and sawdust and stuff like just dump it on into your soup. Like, excuse me, there's several like 6-gauge nails in my clam chowder.
But also, like, the other thing that really like matters is whether like you ate the whole meal. Like if you're like, oh, that meal sucked, but I finished the plate and I wanted now all to be calm.
It's like your bowl has been like licked clean. And you like pick out like, hey, I picked out a piece of porcelain out of my teeth.
All right, so I have one that I have to say that the bulk of the 1-star Yelp reviews and in Murphy's defense, there's plenty of like reviews that are like positive for this place. But the bulk of the 1-star Yelp reviews.
Don't defend your best friend Murphy.
Yo, Murph. Murph's gonna. Well, I was like just right now trying to like think of like a good Irish like joke to make, and my mind immediately went to Murph's gonna get me some oxy later, and I'm like, wait a minute, so do like Irish American people, are they all into like OxyContin as far as like my mind? I mean, if you watch The Town, they are.
Exactly.
So most of the bad Yelp reviews have to deal with the service here.
Seems like it, yeah.
Like, people are like, oh, I came in here with 4 people and like nobody came around to take my order or like, whatever. It's like all this like boo-hoo bullshit that like happens at bars all the time. So I tried to find one that does not have to do with the service.
Okay.
This is from MH, and I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, MH, but this person writes, manager, 3 exclamation points. Wake up and put security staff on when you only have a female bartender closing at 2 a.m., the only member of staff on premises. Seriously, it's not safe and probably illegal.
So wait, was this person like just thinking to themselves, I should probably rob this person?
No, that's what I was thinking. It's like I think they doth protest too much. It's like,
what if that
hey,
is
you're
the
making
manager? Like, are you saying that the manager can't be a lady? I think MH is
that's
a
weird?
sexist male.
Yeah, do you think that's weird? Like, because I've had like friends who are female bartenders say, "Hey, will you wait?" And like, I'm gonna close up, and you're just like, "Well, we'll leave and go have sex." I mean, no. I know, but like, I feel like that there is some merit to.
Yeah, well,
this
I think
thing.
that's the barfly's like last duty of the night is to like make sure that that his friend the bartender like doesn't get shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Looks like the Mets just made it into the NLCS.
Oh, look at that! The Mets just made it into the National League Championship Series.
Apologies to friend of the show, Chris Garcia, big Doyers fan.
He's actually at the game.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Let me tell you something. Mets, enjoy all the champagne you're going to drink tonight. But don't go all Lamar Odom on everybody. Or is that
Don't try to challenge Joe Madden on the difference between Animal Collective and Deerhoof because he'll kill you.
I've often thought, like, we make these jokes that Joe Madden is a hipster. Like, basically, your proto-grandpa hipster.
Yeah.
And I can just imagine, like, Joe Madden looking at every, like, ball player, every player gets to, like, pick their own walk-up music.
Right.
I'm sure like Joe Madden just looking at the list and it's
Derivative, terrible.
It's all. It's all like like
Rip off of a Hollies.
they're all like rednecks, like all the.
Right.
It's either like redneck like songs about like trucks or
Right.
like calypso music from the Caribbean. And I'm sure like Joe Madden's just like looking at the list, being like, "What? What? Like doesn't anybody here like? Have you heard of Flaming Lips?" Here we go.
Do none of you appreciate the contribution in the music that LCD Sound System makes?
Here you go, Rizzo. Your walk-up music is Neutral Milk Hotel. Who wants a Radiohead song?
It's like, come here, Schwartzberg, or whatever your name is. Like,
One of the other reasons why I love Joe Madden is because, well, he's a hipster, but he rides his bike to the park
Really?
all the time. And I wonder what that's like. Wonder what it's like to have a bike.
that's right. Some guys have all the luck and bikes.
Some guys have all the bikes. That's a lesser-known Rod Stewart song.
Yes, exactly. All right. So do you have
So-
anything to? Or go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you
No.
off.
Actually, no. Good. You were gonna plug something?
Oh, I was just gonna ask you if you had any items to plug, anything you saw or did that wasn't the Darkness show.
The next thing I want to plug is our next episode. We will have our NBA preview because
Ooh.
I'm
looking forward to that.
the basketball. Well, you should be.
As I'm just finding out about it now, like, I should probably do some research on that.
Basketball is my favorite sport, and it goes like basketball, football, then baseball.
I think it's going to be like a compelling season too, because you've got good players coming off of like year-long injuries, so
Yep.
like it should be fun. And like I think that weirdly enough, I think that the Warriors will actually have sort of a chip on their shoulder this season. I don't want to give too much away of our preview, but
Absolutely. Well, the thing about the Warriors is like people were saying, well, like they were so lucky because like they stayed healthy, or it's like, yeah, but like they can only play who's in front of them.
yeah, exactly.
It's like it's not like it's not like Kelly Olynyk plays for the Warriors and he like separated Kevin Love's shoulder.
right.
It's like that's just like something that happens. Like what are they
Right.
supposed to do? Like not like accept the championship? Hey. Julie Ash is just in the house. She's yes. Also, one of the things I do want to plug. I want to plug the comedy show that's downstairs.
Oh yeah. And the comedian that just walked by you, right?
Yeah, Julie Ash.
Oh okay.
She's performing tonight, but it's run by Joe Nguyen, and they've been doing it here at Murphy's Pub. It's every Thursday night.
In the basement.
Oh no, actually, I think it's It's every
bi-weekly,
bi-weekly.
so to speak.
Okay, I never get that right. Is it so? If it's bi-monthly, does that mean it's every 2 months, or is it twice a month?
Ooh, good question.
And so if it's bi-weekly, is it every 2 weeks, or is it twice a week?
No, I think you say twice weekly if it's 2 times a week, and bi-weekly if it's once every 2 weeks.
Okay, I'm gonna go with what you said.
All right.
Oh man, the Mets seem to be like really having a good time
Well,
with
they're
their
gonna have a big
celebration.
champagne party because they're 2 series away from winning. Were we discussing that off air? The ridiculous number of champagne celebrations, or was that on?
No,
there?
that was on there.
Oh, okay.
So yes, I want to plug the show that's here on Thursday nights.
Yes.
And the NBA preview next week, and also I want to promote. I want to plug a future version of myself because I won't
riding
be
a bike.
I won't. Yeah, I won't be so depressed like I was this time because I hopefully will have another bike.
Like you'll be reunited with your bike, and you'll be out on a date with your bike.
I wish I could reunite with my bike, but I think that relationship is over.
If you see any suspicious characters riding a bike with a Reanimator
Sticker.
Was it Winston-Salem, North Carolina Reanimator record store?
It just says Reanimator on it.
Oh, okay,
It's a
so-
sticker that says Reanimator, and then there's like a Red Sox sticker on there.
Well, basically any suspicious-looking person on a bike, go ahead and report them to the police.
Exactly.
And
also,
when I say suspicious-looking, I think you all know what I mean.
and also, I would also like to promote. I am not in favor of the death penalty, but death to all bike thieves.
Ooh.
If anyone sees someone stealing a bike, you fucking kick them right in the throat. I don't care if it's your bike or someone else's bike. Kick them in the fucking throat.
All right, I have a couple quick things to plug. One was like this was so much better than it should have been. But like the unauthorized Beverly Hills 90210 movie on Lifetime a couple weeks ago. Somebody spent a lot of time getting a lot of details right.
You're so lucky that nobody's listening at this point.
I know, right? And Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer Simpson, did a brilliant job playing Aaron Spelling.
Really?
And he's completely over the top. Like that's that's our blah blah. The whole thing is so over the top. It's really great.
Was Tori Spelling Aaron Spelling's daughter or granddaughter?
Daughter, I believe. Yeah. And,
which makes it even weirder.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know. Basically, Aaron Spelling's like, yeah, my daughter, she's all right looking. Put her in some spandex and like sell her up, put her on display up there. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Aaron Spelling always seemed like he was sort of like one of the last like throwbacks to like the just ridiculous like producer that like walked around like you're all fired, you're all hired back,
Yeah, you know what? Like they don't make scumbags like they used to. Like Aaron Spelling was the last of a breed.
Well, speaking of scumbags, I saw the movie Call Me Lucky. That's probably the least funny movie ever about the Boston comedy scene.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, who made that?
Actually, Bobcat Goldthwait made it.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's.
You say it's one of the saddest movies about the scene?
Yeah, because it's about.
Because like that's
Barry
a pretty
Crimmins,
sad
whatever.
scene.
But I mean, like everything that sort of like haunted him, or the ghosts or whatever that empowered his sort of bitterness and everything like that, like turn out to be really horrifying and terrible. But so it's like I say, it's it's probably the least comical movie you will see about Boston stand-up comedy.
I saw the Misery Loves Comedy movie.
Yeah, that was decent.
And like that was decent, but the thing is like it honestly did not. I mean, it kind of delved into a little bit of it, but it was like that whole thing where it's like, okay, like how come so many like comedians are depressed and stuff? It's like it was kind of like, oh yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of people are like fucked up.
Exactly.
Hey, let's move on.
Yeah, I kind of thought that like while I enjoyed that movie, I guess for like the hour and a half it was on, like I just felt like it really didn't need to be made. Like it was just like, oh, okay, like that's it's great that you got to like film your buddies and everything, but like there's not really a point of view behind this.
Speaking of comedy politics, somebody was shot outside the Comedy Store in L.A.
Oh, I heard about
recently.
that. Yeah, that's fucking terrible.
And they said that the suspect was a hooded figure, and there's the unconfirmed report that the hooded figure looks like Barry Silver.
Was he heard running away from the scene, shouting, "Call Tom Hanks, he's my best friend."
Tom Hanks is my best friend.
He'll tell you I was somewhere else.
He just like runs away, screaming, "Me and Jimmy Fallon, me and Jimmy Fallon."
It's like, Jimmy Fallon's, I'm untouchable by the law. Jimmy Fallon's my best friend.
Okay, so Andrew, what is your final analysis, Phil Giuano, of Murphy's Pub?
I'm going to give it a solid 31 stars.
Out of how many?
out of, I don't know, let's say 100.
A million?
But that's solid. I mean, it's, and by solid, I mean it has a strong foundation and isn't crumbling.
Rock hard, 31 stars.
Exactly.
I'm going to give it a solid B-.
That is a solid. That would be like an A to me in college. It would be like,
and you know what?
Like someone screwed up and gave me a B-.
You know what? I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna give it an F-. No. I'll give it a D+.
All right.
And,
as long as you're not being fickle about it.
But here's the thing, and my apologies to Murphy's Pub.
I mean, apart from the F-.
Apart from the F-, I am in a very bad mood. And I had to sit next to a bunch of like loudmouth like after work girls.
I mean, compared to Dave's, and especially compared to Local Edition, though.
Oh, it's fucking. This is like Shangri-La.
Yeah,
according to the Local Edition. But hey, in stark contrast to like what some of these jackasses on Yelp said,
right?
The service here has been great.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it has been decent.
Yeah, like we didn't have to flag down the waitresses all.
I mean, she did try to bring you a check before you were done with when you wanted one more wine. So.
Oh, and also she didn't bring back the fucking.
Oh yeah. It's worse than 9/11. It's just. Yeah, I agree. F-.
All right. So let's just wrap it up. I'm gonna go to the comedy show.
These are always the best episodes when you say, so let's just quit. Let's just wrap this up. Let's just stop this right now.
We're still in the honeymoon phase where we are a slave to protocol, but at some point, like, we'll just be like, reach over and like turn it off. Turn off the record it.
We won't say goodbye or anything like that. We'll just be like, I got nothing else. Click.
Hey, what's that? Click.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right. So for SF Barkast, I'm Jeff Cleary.
I am Andy Leonard.
And we'll see you next time.
I do coke.